CM 365, all about Carnatic music.
An artist, in order to be successful in his chosen field, needs to have certain important qualities. Now, whether his success will translate into awards, recognition, and a huge following, that's a totally different topic for discussion. But nevertheless, we see that for an artist to be successful in his art, suppose you want to take, for example, music. If he has to be successful in the field of music, first of all, he should have the ability to hear and learn efficiently. That is first thing. Second is the ability to absorb whatever he is hearing in a very intent manner. He has to absorb everything. Of course, you may absorb many things and keep many things in the mind, but then you also must have the ability to reproduce it effectively. And finally, of course, the element of promoting yourself and marketing your product is very important, because you cannot just sit for hours together today, in today's context at least. You cannot sit at home and just keep practicing and honing your skills and then expect somebody will come and promote you and give you thousands of concerts. That doesn't happen that way. So you have to be one side improving your skills, but at the same time you should know how to promote your art also. Now, coming to certain qualities which are very important for any musician or any artist for that matter, the first thing and the most important thing is persistence. Now, what is persistence? It is that which allows someone to continue doing something even in difficult times or when there is an opposition. This we see for many artists where I may want to take up to music as a profession because I'm so passionate about it. But then sometimes it may be such that my family circumstances may not be so conducive towards that, in the sense that we all know that music is an uncertain profession where sometimes you may have very high times of in terms of being much in demand, and sometimes you see that you don't have a market at all. So it's a very uncertain kind of a field where you really don't know where it will lead you to. But the passion that is there within us is what keeps us going. But here, what is important is that level of persistence to keep going even amidst odds. That is, sometimes you see that when the parents may say that, no, you have to have a job in hand, and then you also probably could pursue music side by side. But then some artists, they're so convinced about their ability and they're so passionate about the art, they say, no, I will not take to any other profession. I will only stick on to music and pursue music. So that requires a different bend of mind actually. And of course, when you start creating new paths for yourself, that is from the traditional kind of path, you try to break off and try to create some new avenues, there'll definitely be oppositions. People will say that you're breaking tradition, you're trying to, kind of create something which is not there within our the gamut of the music itself or something like that. So in that kind of, when you become a path breaker, you will definitely have oppositions. But then there also this persistence is very important in terms of not being influenced by what others say, but you keep on doing your work faithfully and with a lot of dedication. Now, perseverance needed also here is not just about just pursuing the art, for that perseverance is important, but it also is important to improve and perfect your skills. Because unless you keep improving every day, your art will become stale and people may not even be very interested to listen to you or, kind of come to your programs. And learning new things every day is very important, whether you are having concerts or not. The zeal to keep on learning new things is also very important. And you should also be able to build an exceptional body of work, which people will look at with awe, amazement, some kind of excitement, or some, they're also very much kind of, very pleased to see the work that you have done. And that is very important. Otherwise, if the work is of an ordinary kind, then they may not arouse the interest of the people also. And Building a successful career and sustaining it, of course, these are all long-time endeavors. Just in one day, you can't build a career of your, whether it's music or dance or whatever, you can't build a career. And also, just putting in effort for 1 month and saying that, oh, nothing came about and then I'm not able to make it big. It doesn't happen like that. That persistently you have to keep on and on and on and on working on the art, and then only after many years it will show the improvement and the kind of success, the path of success. Probably a small light will be visible somewhere to you. And if you have persistence to fuel your dreams, it will, then only it will become a reality. So that persistence again is very, very important. If the goal of the artist is to earn a living from music, he also needs persistence to continue and improving and creating even when his music is not selling. So as I mentioned earlier also, sometimes some few months we may not even have any work in terms of being engaged for a concert, but that should not stop us from our learning. We have to keep on continuing. And the COVID period was a classic example, I would say, when the art community actually came to a standstill in terms of performances and programs. 2 years there was no live program happening in anywhere. So, but it was very, very inspiring to see how artists took to new means to keep their creativity, alive, and to keep the art alive. They were trying out so many new methods, and this did not really stop them from their creativity. Though they were not able to perform live or earn a livelihood through their concerts, which came to a total standstill, as I said earlier, this did not stop them. So what they did was they tried to explore new avenues. For example, we have always known that a concert has to be performed with accompaniment in terms of a violin, mridangam, ghatam or whatsoever. But the situation then was such that we could not come together. So many of them took to solo performances, which was quite something unimaginable. A concert just as a solo performer was something which we never imagined before the COVID times, and always, even if it was a small time performer as an accompaniment, we used to have them to fulfill the concert, the kind of the wholeness of the concert. And the second thing is, of course, how artists, apart from being Carnatic musicians, they try to explore new avenues in terms of trying to sing a slokam, or trying to go into the domain of bhajans, or trying to sing a cine song. So all this, they were trying to explore new avenues so that they could keep the art alive and be connected with the audience also. And of course, we also see that nothing is more frustrating when you create good music on stage and there are few takers. This, of course, many of us have experienced, because sometimes we go to an auditorium thinking there will be an overflowing audience, and that day there may not be anybody at all, or rather very few takers. So sometimes these kind of things are disappointing, and but this should not actually come in the way of our creativity. And of course, this also happens with very, very big star performance. I distinctly remember one performance I attended in Naradagan Sabha many years back by one of the top-notch performers. This particular program still remains etched in my mind because of the fact that when, as artists, that particular artist would have thought that she's such a crowd puller and always has overflowing audience. I don't know what was the reason that day, but probably lack of proper publicity or whatever. When I went to the auditorium, there was nobody outside even, because that artist always has a huge fan base attending the concert. So I was really wondering whether I'd come to the correct hall, and I inquired, is it so-and-so's concert happening today? So, then somebody there responded and said that, yes, that person is only singing. And I went into that huge auditorium. I saw there were hardly 5 people sitting there. I was then wondering whether I had come at the wrong time, in the sense that maybe the concert was to start very late and then I had come early. But that was also not the case. And the artist also sensed that there were only few people, and she had to wait for about half an hour to 45 minutes to even gather a handful of audience, coming for that. So you can imagine the mind frame of the audience. I'm sure she would have been in a state of shock that day, because somebody who brings in houseful audience suddenly sees 10 people, 20 people in the audience. So that can happen to any artist for that matter. That's what the point I want to drive. It's not about who the artist or what it was. But the point is that all of us have our highs and lows, and even when we are top, sometimes these kind of things happen. But this should not come in the way of our quality of the performance. So whether it is 20 people or 200 or 2000, every artist should have that persistence of mind to give their very best. That's what I wanted to drive home the point here. And the next thing is, of course, about the temptation that comes to us, when you are not having a great time for consistently, maybe about 1 year, 2 year, you're not able to capture the market. Then what happens is that immediately, of course, the question of survival is also there. So we will be thinking whether maybe we can switch on to some job. And if you have some good qualification, this definitely helps in terms of thinking like that, where you want to just switch over and go for a permanent job which may offer you a regular monthly income, some pension and other things. So here again, persistence is very, very important in terms of being able to catch on and cling on to your art, come what may. And of course, the career peak is a part of life, and this career peak happens at different points for different artists. For example, if you take Mandolin Srinivas, at a very small age, he was able to become a maestro, and he was able to capture thousands of audience. For some people, they may be probably singing for 25 years, 30 years, and then suddenly after that 30 years, they capture the market. So it just happens, one fine day you are able to gain the market, and you are able to gain more Rasikas coming in. So we really do not know what is God's plan for us in terms of this area, where you may be working the same way all these 25 years suddenly, but you see that people are thronging your concerts, people are coming to your concerts, and there are so many takers for your music. So that happens at different points of times. But for all this, again, persistence is required, and you cannot become a superstar overnight, nor can you get to learn the art, everything, within 1 day or 1 month. I want to learn music. It doesn't happen like that. Nor as a performer, one fine day you get up and you want to have lakhs of people, kind of being fans to your music. That doesn't happen. It's a slow and gradual build-up that happens for everybody. And as artists, you may be enthralled or unhappy with your work and career. Now, this is to end. Sometimes you are very happy with what you do. Sometimes you may not be really very, very happy with what you are done. But then, patience is, you are very much required here. And persistence is also required. Both are very, very important. And we could say that persistence is about discipline, and patience here is about the attitude. And nevertheless, both have to be there. Persistence and patience, both are very, very important for an artist to grow and become successful.
CM 365, all about Carnatic music.